Hello and welcome back to ERU. Now, Doogie's off this week, so you're joined by Michael McCubbin and me, Henry Hill. Mikey, I'm a Fulham fan, you're a United fan. A great weekend for us, wasn't it?
Yeah, pretty good weekend all round, to be honest. What a super Sunday that was. You must be thrilled with the Fulham result, putting Jurgen Klopp, giving Jurgen Klopp his 6th home loss in a row.
Nothing more than we deserved. It's criminal we're not on Football Daily doing winners and losers this week, but we're here talking about European football, sadly. And there were some huge stories that did actually come out this weekend. Obviously, Rangers, congratulations to them. They claimed their 55th Scottish title the weekend after the 3-0 victory over St Mirren, and then obviously Celtic dropping points on the Sunday. So that's the first time Celtic haven't won it in 10 years. Lots of celebrations going on in Glasgow. If you want to hear more about that, do check out our EFT Explained on how Gerrard destroyed Celtic. That came out this weekend, voiced by Mikey. So go check that out. But Mikey, that wasn't the only bit of big news that occurred this weekend, was it?
No, obviously over in Barcelona, the election happened this weekend. There's also an EFD Explained that we put out when the election was initially meant to go in place back in January that you can check out if you want to kind of get a bit of background on what the candidates stood for and everything, and whether they made the right choice in electing Laporta. Obviously, he got 57.6% of the vote, a landslide victory for him. He'll be seeing in his 3rd term now. Obviously, he served at Barça between 2003 and 2010. Obviously, a very trophy-laden era for the club, and memories of that era, I think, played a big part in him in his campaign. I think a lot of fans, really kind of connect with him. He's a very charismatic president, and I think after what we've seen happen at Barca in the last year or two, I think kind of pining for those glory days played a big part. He's also getting in Jordi Cruyff, Johan Cruyff's son, as sporting director, which is a bit cheeky, I think, because that was a policy initially put ahead by his presidential rival Victor Font, who did have a lot of really good ideas, I think, in his campaign, and had the longest kind of running campaign as well. But I think Laporta's kind of charisma, doing things like putting up a poster next to the Bernabeu, telling Real Madrid that he was looking forward to seeing them again, things like that. He's a very, very strong Catalan nationalist as well. I think, all these kind of things fed into what was, ultimately a very successful campaign for Laporta, who lost, let's remember, to Bartomeu back in 2015. Obviously a massive day for Barca. Messi himself voted, and Laporta said that he, thinks that could be a sign that he'll stay. Again, that was another big thing in the election. All the candidates said they wanted Messi to stay and would do all they could to do that, or to secure his kind of future at the club. But that's juxtaposed, of course, with the club's dire financial situation. Laporta, inherited a club back in 2003, which was in a pretty bad financial situation. But this one is almost definitely worse. They've got a net debt of 488 million euros. It's suspected it could be even, unofficially could be even bigger, more towards the 1 billion mark. A massive summer ahead for Barcelona and Laporta. So we'll see what happens there, and I'm sure we'll be covering what's going on at Barcelona and the changes that Laporta is going to make over the coming weeks and months. So stay tuned for that. But our headline story this week is a little bit more off kilter, actually, not the obvious one. It comes as the suggestion of @JohnnyWalton1, and it comes after reports came out on the weekend that Mauricio Pochettino is keen to upgrade the goalkeeper position this summer. Apparently he's keen to replace Keylor Navas with Man United's David De Gea. A little bit of a strange one, I think this is. The 30-year-old Spaniard, of course, is on huge wages at United, amounting to near enough £400,000 a week, highest in the Prem. And apparently, the Parisians will be willing to match this. De Gea's obviously out of the team at the moment due to the birth of his son, and I guess this has led to a bit of speculation as to whether his long-term future at United is in that number one position. Obviously, Dean Henderson has kept clean sheets in the last 2 games. Not really troubled that much, if I'm honest, but he has made a very solid start to his kind of challenge, I guess, to De Gea's position. which he is obviously targeting in the long run. He's long said that if he doesn't, get that number one position at United, that he will push for a move. So yeah, only 5 starts in the Premier League this term so far for Henderson. But yeah, he's doing a good job so far. This obviously seems a little harsh on Navas as well. The Costa Rican's played very well in his second season, as he did in his first, since joining from Real Madrid. 83% save percentage this term, which is the best record in France. That's not to be sniffed at. He's also saved 4.9 post-shot expected goals as well, which is 1.7 more than next best Anthony Lopez in Ligue 1. So it does seem a little strange that PSG would want to upgrade him when there's obviously other areas of the squad which need more urgent attention. But Henry, as for United, would De Gea be a big loss? Because he's not exactly had a classic season in a red shirt, has he?
A few years ago, almost inconceivable that De Gea would leave, but now, it's not quite the same, is it? His save percentage this season is under 68%, which is down from 74% last term. And it's always a little bit subjective what this kind of stat really means, but when you see the kind of names that he's around, only Carl Darlow, Alex McCarthy and Matt Ryan have a worse one in the division. They've been kind of struggling at late. Alex McCarthy dropped for Fraser Forster. Carl Darlow's been kind of moved out for Martin Dubravka at late. So it kind of shows you roughly where about his performances have been this season. He's also only saved 0.3 expected goals, 18th in the division, down from his peak of 7.9 across 17-18. Like you just said there, some really remarkable stats for Keylor Navas at PSG. Kind of papering over the cracks in some of the end of the Tuchel era, certainly. So would De Gea really be an upgrade on him? It's really hard to say. If United did move him on, would they just go to Henderson, or could they look for another replacement? Potentially Donnarumma. He's always a name who's there and thereabouts, isn't he? Still hasn't signed a new deal with AC Milan, who are 3 points behind Inter, and they play Atalanta tonight, so that kind of situation could improve or worsen by then. However, as a Fulham fan, I will say, if De Gea does go to PSG, this could actually be great news for us, because it means it'd be more likely easier to sign Alphonse Areola on a permanent deal. He's kept 9 clean sheets in 27 games this term, only conceded 90 in his last 22 Premier League games. He's honestly been, I think he's been one of the signings of the summer, really. For sure. I think he's been an unbelievable discovery coming into the Premier League, so maybe a better chance for Fulham to take him on there. But yeah, I mean, Mikey, I personally don't see this happening. Like I said, I think Keylor Navas is really quite disrespected. And although I do think De Gea may have to leave at some point, I'd be surprised if it was PSG.
Yeah, it does seem like a pretty mad story to come out. I feel like it is the media definitely playing on the fact that David De Gea just isn't in the United team at the moment. And I guess this is a snapshot, into the future of United. I think Dean Henderson probably will eventually take his place, but on those kind of wages at the moment, I think it's going to be difficult for another club to take him on. But yeah, like you said, if it did happen, Areola, I think he's a pretty good shout for PFA Team of the Year, if I'm honest. He's been so good this term, especially if Fulham stay up. So yeah, I think that would be a real positive to come out of it. I think Fulham probably will hopefully sign him in the summer regardless. But what do you guys think? Let us know in the comments below. Can you see this move happening? Do you think De Gea needs a new challenge? Having served United so well for the last 10 years. Let us know in the comments below. And who do you think would replace him? Would you favour Dean Henderson just coming into that role, or like Henry said, do you think Donnarumma could be an option? We're still waiting on that contract, aren't we? I feel like it will happen, but every week that goes by, it's just going to get louder and louder, isn't it? The talk of Donnarumma potentially leaving Milan. But yeah, let's move on to our first winner. I said first winner, but of course it's a slightly different setup we've got now. I think this is my first time actually presenting on in our new format. So it's the result of the week, and it comes in from @CR2002, and it's Juventus, Henry.
Yeah, so they fought down from 1-0 down to beat Lazio 3-1 at home with goals from Rabiot and a double from Morata. Really exciting game, lots of chances and some great finishes as well. And this win, this is their 6th from their last 8 games. It keeps Juve in 3rd, 4 points off AC Milan and 2 ahead of Roma, with a game in hand on both of them. So putting together a little bit of form. And it was a really solid display from Andrea Pirlo's side. They had 7 shots with 4 on target to Lazio's 15. But they created the much better chances. XG had it at 1.5, so 0.9 there. It was particularly impressive given Ronaldo started the bench as well and only came on after 69 minutes for Morata. Largely ineffective too when he did come on. 0 shots, 0 key passes and 0 dribbles. How many times do we ever say that about a Ronaldo performance, albeit in just over 20 minutes? But I mean, it would be particularly pleasing is the fact that they recovered from conceding a disastrous early goal when Kulusevski gave it away and Joaquin Correa turned Demiral inside out before scoring his 2nd goal in 3 games. Really like Correa. I think he's quite an underrated player, really useful asset to that Lazio side. But, I mean, from then on, the goals just got better and better, didn't they? That one scored by Rabiot, sort of took it on his left foot, bursting through into the box and just sort of smashed it past Pepe Reina. That's just his 3rd goal in 69 games for the old lady. Some way to sort of get back on the score sheet there. And Morata as well, that lovely side-footed finish. But, I mean, this was another missed opportunity, was it, for Lazio?
Yeah, I guess this was another letdown in a big game for them. I don't think anyone was necessarily expecting them to win this, but they have faltered in against the bigger teams this season. Atalanta, Milan and Inter all lost to, and now Juve as well. They've conceded 13 goals in those games as well, so all kind of pretty convincing losses. And after 6 straight wins between 6th of January and the 7th of February, they've now only won 1 of their last 4. In that run, they lost to Inter, Bologna and now Juve. And they had their game against Torino abandoned for COVID reasons. Yeah, and they kind of shot themselves in the foot here, didn't they? They were a bit weak in midfield, especially for that Morata's first goal, Chiesa won the ball in midfield and was really unchallenged before putting that ball in through to him. Milinkovic-Savic then, clumsily brought down Ramsey in the box. So, yeah, goals that were quite avoidable. They're now 7th, 7 points behind 4th place Roma with a game in hand. They also weren't helped by the fact Lucas Leiva made 1 tackle interception and their back 3 made 5 between them. So not the most active pressing performance from Lazio. Key performances in this game though, Rabiot obviously excellent, 7 tackles and interceptions, 1 aerial duel, 1 shot and 1 goal. But yeah, Chiesa was pretty unplayable on the day, wasn't he? 6 tackles and interceptions from him, so a real shift defensively. Also completed 3 dribbles. Created a chance, 2 shots and an assist. I think it's pretty harsh on Morata though, to be honest, because he got 2 goals and assist himself. But the 23-year-old now has 2 goals and 2 assists in his last 5 games, really coming into his own, isn't he? I think there are a few question marks over the signing of him last summer, considering they already had Kulusevski in that right wing slot. But I think Chiesa has proved just why Juve have been interested in him for the last 2-3 years. Really coming into his own right now. And this will perfectly prep them for their monster clash against Porto tomorrow night. Obviously currently 2-1 down. Henry, do you think they can bring that back?
Yeah, I don't think... Porto are a good outfit, of course, but I just think Juventus, with all the talent they've got, I completely agree with you. Chiesa looks like he's been a star since he joined there. Weston McKennie now on a permanent, so a lot of these players really beginning to be comfortable. I'd be really surprised, especially if Ronaldo is looking to recover from this poor performance. I think he'll certainly be looking to put on a show. I'd be very surprised if Juventus don't walk away winners from that clash.
Yeah, I think I'll have to agree there, Henry. At home as well. I think Juve should bring that back. But what do you guys make of it? Do you think Juve can bring that tie back against Porto tomorrow night? Let us know in the comments below.
So this week, our star of the week comes in from @Stuart_Kirk, and it is Robert Lewandowski. Sort of a clash of 2 titans into Klassiker we're covering. And Lewandowski looked like he came out on top, didn't he?
Yeah, very much did so. Obviously scored a sensational hat-trick that saw Bayern come back from 2-0 down to beat Dortmund 4-2 in the Klassiker. They're now 16 points ahead clear of their rivals, who really have, Champions League football very much at stake now. Obviously down in 6th, are they, following that defeat. They've got some ground to make up if they want to play in Europe's Premier competition next season. BVB struggled to contain him all afternoon. He won an aerial duel, created a pass, had 9 shots. Pretty crazy in a game this big. And obviously got 3 goals. Tap-in, penalty, and that lovely long-range effort at the end after what was a superb strike from Goretzka to seal the points. He's now scored a ridiculous 31 goals and provided 6 assists in 23 league games this season. That's a goal contribution every 53 minutes, which is just outrageous. And obviously he's very much on for trying to match Gerd Muller's record of 40 in a Bundesliga season. Let's see if that happens. But Henry, I mean, it's just another terrible night for Dortmund against their former star player.
He really has come back to haunt them once more. He's now played 23 matches against them, has scored 22 times and provided 3 assists, only scoring more against Wolfsburg. Wow. Yeah, he's meant to kind of be respectful towards his former club, but that is some unreal numbers. And like you said, if he can break Gerd Muller's record of 40 goals in a season, which I think was set almost 50 years ago, that would be a remarkable achievement. It really would be. Under the circumstances there. But like you said, this was a pretty dominant performance for Bayern Munich over Dortmund. They had 66% possession, 27 shots with 9 on targets, which is kind of crazy. And XG had it at 2.7 to 0.7 in their favour. It was very exciting to see Haaland and Lewandowski almost spar off against each other, and you saw Haaland sort of slumped on the bench at the end as Hansi Flick went over to try and shake his hand, and I struggled to see whether or not any side really catch Bayern once again in the Bundesliga this year. Anyway, that's all we have time for. A bumper show. We've covered all sorts of stories from across Europe. Mikey, what else? If they've enjoyed this, what else should they go and check out?
Well, obviously, go and check out those explains that we talked about earlier. One on Steven Gerrard that came out yesterday about how he's transformed Rangers and obviously sealed that 55th title. Go and check out the one on the Barcelona presidential race if you want to hear more about how Laporta got to where he has now. Go and check out our scout report from last week. We focused on Jesse Lingard, among other players who have proved the doubters wrong this season. Just go and check out all our other stuff and all our stuff on the Champions League that will be coming out this week as well. UCL back, of course, from tomorrow. Thanks for watching, everyone. Don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed it. And we'll see you next time. Bye.